Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and today we're going to be talking about National Express stock and just talk about if it's a good opportunity to go buy the stock right now. I kind of talked about it briefly on one of my last videos, but I felt like it deserved a full video. A lot of you guys are getting quite interested into this stock, so I wanted to dedicate some of its own time, give it its spotlight, let it have its moment. So I did a video on National Express probably about 2 months ago, and I know a lot of you guys keep commenting on that video, so I thought an up-to-date one would be a little bit better. So we're going to cover National Express, and it was a company that I did add into last week. I opened a position in National Express, and I'll go through the reasons why and if it's a good time to go buy into National Express. So obviously we're talking about a UK stock here, mainly known for its travel. It built up a lot of networks in the UK, and now it's also expanded into Germany, a lot of rail in Germany, also into the US, and it's really expanding into Europe, worldwide. And I say this about a lot of UK companies. This is where a lot of UK companies let us down. We have a lot of fantastic UK companies, but they kind of max out the UK, and then they're just happy to sit there and they see their earnings decrease, they see the revenue decrease, and they don't think, let's try somewhere else, let's try grow some in another country. And I always think a lot of UK companies let us down in that way. Instead of pushing on, just limiting themselves to the UK, and National Express is one of those companies that deserve a lot of credit because they're pushing worldwide now, and the company actually was seeing a lot of really good results pre-COVID because of this, especially with the German rail side of it. Some of the growth was absolutely fantastic there, and when you look at a company like this that's expanding, it's why the stock has done really well pre-COVID. So overall, National Express, travel company, also expanding, and previously we've seen a lot of returns for that in the share price and in the revenue side of it. So we'll get stuck into National Express. So if you haven't done already, guys, make sure you smash the like button. But National Express, ticker symbol NEX, currently trading about 138 right now. When you look at pre-COVID, it's a stock that was really successful. The stock had gone up a little bit pre-COVID wise, and obviously then you've had a massive drop. It's one of those companies that's been really affected by COVID, and obviously transport, people are travelling a lot less. Everyone got told to stay at home, you weren't operating. But now you look at society opening back up, schools are starting to go back again, transport needed for that. Parents are going to be able to go back to the office, they'll be travelling quite a bit. So it's one of those where it's the worst has kind of passed at the moment. As long as it was, don't have a second wave, this company is going to start picking up a little bit from here. Now, when you look at the drop into COVID, and the stock actually dropped 70-80%, which is huge. 70-80% is a massive decline in the stock. To lose that much value pretty much over a month's period is crazy. But actually, when we look at the drop in COVID, the stock actually started to go back up again. And the stock actually went up about 150%, and even at one point 200%, which is massive. And you'd argue the case that if you're at that point now where the stock got back up to 270-ish, you've kind of missed this one. But unfortunately, some people have been buying in that range, and then since then the stock has declined about another 50%. So you could argue that you kind of missed the boat on this one, and now you've got another opportunity to go buy into the company. And you're getting it back at a 50% discount, which is a really good opportunity, and that's actually one of the reasons why I bought into the company itself. Now, when you look into earnings were actually pretty good. The only negative is that the CEO is leaving, which is, at this sort of time, I won't want someone in that management to be leaving, but they are. Dean Finch is leaving to go to Persimmon, but the CFO is the one stepping up, which is a positive. Someone's still in the company, which is the only negative. But in the actual earnings, obviously they posted a loss. But there was still some good growth in the German rail side of it. When you look at pre-COVID numbers, the pre-COVID numbers were saying the company actually was growing 17% revenue in January and February, which is really good. So you've got a company that was doing really well going into COVID. And like I say, you've got another opportunity to go buy into the company right now at these sort of valuations. So when we look into the stock, the company, like I say, was a company that was always growing revenue. The revenue was kind of increasing a couple of percent really every year. And on the earnings front as well, it was a company always increasing the earnings every couple of percent. So on the earnings side of it, revenue side of it, it was a company doing really well. And after COVID as well, it looks like it'll do okay. So when you look at a stock, why is the stock going to go up in share price? It's because it's going to be growing its revenue and earnings, and this company was obviously doing it from its international growth side of it. On the balance sheet wise, it could be a little bit of a better balance sheet, I'm not going to lie. 1.5 debt, but debt to equity 122%. So yeah, it could be a little bit better on the balance sheet. It got about 600 million in cash, so obviously the cash would be a little bit better to the debt, but still, it's still got a bit of cash to go through. It was paying a bit of a dividend. The dividend was about a 3-4% yield. Obviously, it's had to cut it now to save money. But you think about, if you buy these prices and the dividend comes back, you're going to have a dividend yield that's probably like 6-7%, which is pretty good. And before COVID, it was dividend that was pretty well covered as well. On the insiders front, there was a lot of shareholders buying in COVID, which is really positive. The only negative is that the CEO Dean Finch offloaded a lot of shares. Obviously, the reason why is because he's leaving. He's off to Persimmon, which is a little bit gutting, obviously from a management point of view, and also that he dumped so many shares. But overall, apart from that, it was positive on the insiders buying front as well. So overall, what's my thoughts with NAX stock, National Express stock? I think that when you look into it, it's a company that was doing quite well COVID, had an okay balance sheet, and you look at the share price drop recently and think, that's what you could have missed out on. You got a second opportunity, and it's one of those where you got to think, when you buy this company, it's one of those that you might have a rough year depending on what happens with, cases, lockdowns, and etc. But you think that the company was burning through how much cash it was burning through, and compared to the cash it has, probably gives it about a year and a half of life. Worst case scenario, that it has hardly any revenue coming in. But now that it has revenue coming back in, obviously the losses won't be as steep, so it probably won't burn through much cash. So it still has quite a good life in it. And I think, travel, when you look outside right now, travel's starting to pick up a lot more, especially in September when a lot of students go back. You'll have parents that are not going to have the kids at home, and they're able to go back to the offices. So I think, travel will start picking up a lot more. I noticed that it's picking up last few weeks, and I think September-wise, you'll definitely have a big surge in travel, I think, then. So I think the worst part for National Express is now over, and then you got to look at that and think, where's the stock going to be? And then you consider the stock, was like 80% off its all-time highs. I think when you look at this company right now, for me, even if you got these sort of prices, if the stock went up 100%, it's still not near its all-time highs. It has to go up about 200% back to get to its all-time highs. So for me, when I look at this company, I think even if it can't do 2019 numbers, and it does, 80% of that, 70% of that, the stock's still going to go up probably into the 200 range. So for me, I look at the company and I think, I think things will start to pick up. And when I look at the share price, I think that this stock has a lot of opportunity to at least, bring in 100% return. You could argue even longer over the long term. So for me, it's another travel stock that has a bit of risk. But once again, I think it'll do okay from September onwards. So I don't mind picking this up at these sort of valuations. So I hope you enjoyed the video on National Express stock, guys. As always, like the video if you can. Subscribe if you're new around here. And I'll see you in the next video.